I don't know. The music was pretty sweet, man.
Yeah, I think I can use it, but I don't know. I got other music that I actually use in the episode.
Right. Some cool like cyberpunk situation.
Yeah, it's OCR remix, overclocked remix.
All right.
It's people making like fan edits of like video game music, and
I'm into that.
It's a pretty cool place if fans of the show and specifically the music interludes in between are interested in that. Definitely go check out Overclock Remix.
Boom. Just like that.
They are not an official sponsor of Deadzone the podcast, which is the show you're listening to.
Woo!
Welcome to the Deadzone Podcast. Deadzone is the sci-fi tabletop.
I'm one of your hosts, Bryan.
And I'm Scott.
And then, Chris, you can introduce yourself too if you want.
Mic not working. Ooh.
Oh, no. That's
okay. We did say something about a new mic, so I don't know, Bryan. Maybe we could just keep rolling. Oh, there it is. Just like that.
That's where I say I'll fix it in post, and I won't.
Windows updates are not my friend.
Yep, you got to roll back those KB updates.
True.
Well, man, gents, let's rock and roll.
How have you guys been?
Fantastic. Ready for some Christmas shenanigans?
Oh yeah, and like, what's kind of winter gaming like for you both? Do you find that you get to do more, or do you does it become kind of slim pickings around this time of year?
Chris, I'll let you answer first.
So, other than like right on the holidays, it doesn't really change much for me.
Gotcha.
I'm still. I mean, I'm running essentially 2 RPGs a week, and wargaming at least once a week. So that's staying pretty consistent.
Nice.
Okay.
Other than my game is on Wednesdays and Christmas Day is Wednesday, so we're not playing because my players are sissies and don't want to like leave their families to go play a RPG on Christmas.
They don't want to forsake their families for their games.
I had
Twitter talk.
I had one guy actually have that contemplative. He's actually driving back from his family's down south, and he's coming back from a 10-hour drive, and he's like, could I get back in time? Could I?
No. That's too much.
Jeez.
Hey, I mean, I love the commitment, though. You know.
Yes. So, yeah. I mean, the holidays can interfere with it a bit, but you know, it's just you just roll with the punches.
True that.
To me, mine get to ramp up a bit. Because my brothers like games too, and my dad. So when we all get together from across state, we all get the game. So we get to stop doing tabletop simulator at 10 p.m. and do the same game we've been playing analog style. So
Nice.
Very cool. Yeah, it's kind of hit or miss for me. I've got some of my Wisconsin family play some games with like the tabletop ones. Like my younger brother and I will play Deadzone, Dreadball. He's we're the two of us are really into Halo, and haven't had a chance to connect and play Flashpoint yet, but I know that's going to be a really fun time.
Someday soon.
And so the mostly hanging out with my in-laws, And we play more just kind of general board games. There's not as, no one over on that side is really like into wargaming or anything like that. But I try to get some gaming in. I know gonna try to get our like maybe once monthly hangout day worked in here.
We gotta at least I think all three of us gotta at least try. There's got to be at least some effort into, hey, here's a new game. At least, if all you can get is your 12-year-old cousin, just slap down something. Break out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, break out Halo. Every 12-year-old loves Halo.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So I imagine kind of with that, other more recent developments, probably worth highlighting real quick, is that there was the preview of the Adepticon events for next year. Was made available, and I'm frantically clicking through this thing to try and get all the events in front of me, so that I can talk about it with some confidence. But it is jam-packed, to say the least.
Well, I heard they got a lot going on.
Oh yeah. And we'll stick to just the sci-fi, but there's obviously lots of Kings of War stuff going on.
Sure.
And Armada. But we start with, let's see, March 27th, I think is Wednesday night. Let me make sure I got that right. No, that'll be Thursday. So we're into Thursday. We've got the Halo Flashpoint tournament.
Nice.
And that one's like at 9 to 4 and has 60 spots. Like they are expecting that to be a big one. As they should. I think it's going to be a pretty big hit. And then unfortunately for some folks, it is going to be running parallel to the Firefight US National Tournament, which also starts at 9 a.m. That one goes till 7. So that is like a whole day, 7 p.m.
When does it start? When does it start?
9 a.m.
Oh, dang. Okay.
So they are making that's a change from last year. Is they are making Firefight an all day event.
That's awesome.
Which it deserves. Like, it's been that thing. We've tried running a couple of events where it's like 3 games in one day, and you can do it, but it's not quite that full tournament, right? You want at least 4 games in. To really kind of see who rises to the top.
Yeah, and they're longer games too. So
they're longer games.
Yeah.
Halo is going to be from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. For that event in particular. And with the Firefight, they've got 20 spots open for that one. And then they've actually got I'll just kind of go with the main tournaments, and then I'll go through some other events. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, there's Halo Flashpoint, which might just the Thursday actually might just be something else. Now that I'm looking closer at it, I'm also seeing on March 28th, so Friday, the Halo Flashpoint US Nationals.
What's the difference between that and the 60-man?
Which has 24 spots left. I think that might be a mix-up on Adepticon's part, because I can't imagine that they want the big Halo tournament to only have 24 spots. So I'm thinking that one might be a little bit of a typo, but we'll see. I mean, that one's 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., so that could be a long game. But they have, I think the trick of it is there are a number of Halo Flashpoint, like smaller games. There's a couple of draft events. So, you show up at the table, and you and your opponent, you draft your fire teams. There's the Halo Flashpoint Master Chief Challenge. and I'll kind of get into each one of those in a second here. And then let's see, on the 28th, which is the Friday, at 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. is the Deadzone U.S. National.
Woo!
Woohoo! That one's got 20 spots available, and we've got Halo Flashpoint like filling out the rest of the event, including a Halo Flashpoint Duos tournament on I think
sounds so fun.
Saturday.
That sounds like a
And
blast.
yeah, that one's 6:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. And then there's a team tournament, I think, rounding out Sunday on March 30th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
What's the difference between the doubles and the teams?
So the duos, let's see, Halo Flashpoint Duos tournament, 2 Spartans or 2 elites per side. No Master Chief. If you are just learning or just want to have a fun, exciting game, wind down with your main event for the day, come for the tournament. That is 60 spots. So that is, you're just running 2 guys on your team. So that could be fun.
Yeah.
And then the team tournament, you and your partner bring 2 Spartans or elites, no Master Chief, face off against other teams. So that is you and a partner will each bring 2. So you both command 2 models in your fire team. And yeah, requires 2 players for a single team. Only one of you is required to pay the ticket. So figure that out with your friends.
Split it or be generous.
And like I said, so the draft event. So I wonder if I can. It's not a easy way to filter this. So I'm just gonna go. So just gonna go into that first event. So Halo Flashpoint. So this is the Thursday the 27th. Sorry guys, I'm keeping numbers in my head is a struggle sometimes. So
it's late, man.
so the main Halo Flashpoint on Thursday from 9 to 4. Halo Stockpile. The tournament takes place amongst a gigantic weapons cache. Each round, weapon types will be set for your Halo models, and you will see who can use the full arsenal. So that must just be missing its subtitle, because that almost seems like more of a casual event. And then there's the Halo Flashpoint U.S. Nationals, which is on the 28th. So bring 4 Spartans, strike team to vie for supremacy in this grand tournament. This first Halo National Tournament. Come and prove you belong at the top of the hill. Multiple rounds will be played until we have a victor. Bring your Mantic Halo Flashpoint models painted up to vie for all the awards. So that one only has 24 spots. So maybe that is how they're doing it right now, is they've got big kind of open, smaller events, and then maybe a smaller number for the national championship. Maybe that'll change as they get more of an insight. So I feel like that number should be bigger. But
what's the number for Kings of War? How many people are available for that?
So the main Kings event is Adepticon is 50 spots.
Wow.
Okay.
So they're really pushing Halo.
Yeah. Then there was the Halo Flashpoint Single Weapons Challenge. So bring your squad and see if you take the prize. And really kind of short description. That's got 60 seats left. And that's March 29th, 9 to 6. And if I recall correctly, that's basically like a preset one weapon that everybody's using.
Really? Okay.
And maybe it's different each round of the event. I think some of the details for the tournaments are actually still coming to light, as it were. But I think, and then let's go into this one real quick. Is the Master Chief? The Master Chief Challenge. Battle it out in 5 rounds to find out who is the top Master Chief. This will be a 4-player event. Each player will control his own Master Chief in a Slayer game mode.
Everyone's Master Chief.
Everyone's Master Chief.
All right, sweet.
In a free for all.
That sounds fun.
And so that one, they have multiple of the Master Chief Challenge, multiple of the draft events, and I think because they have, I think 4 or 5, maybe even 6 of the draft events. At least 2 of the 3 of the Master Chief, 4 of the Master Chief Challenge. Sorry guys, I'm counting in live.
You're good. You're good.
And I'm like having to scroll up each time. So they're gonna have a full time, that's for sure. But if you are enjoying the Halo Flashpoint, there is going to be plenty to love at Adepticon. It really seems like a combination of obviously both the big tournaments, but I think they're trying to also make that space for people that are just maybe have other games going on or just getting into Halo to kind of be able to get a smaller game fit in to their Adepticon time, which is pretty cool. Like I think Halo is going to be pretty big for them.
Yeah. I mean, Halo just came out, and look at the presence it already has at Adepticon this year.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild.
And by then, I think the pre-orders are going out for Wave 2, I think is just starting like in January.
Yeah. Well, I think you have to have it in by January.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Yeah.
So a lot of cool stuff going down at Adepticon. And for those that are here for the Deadzone coverage, obviously there's the U.S. National Championship, and I think you will. So we'll see if it winds up being 175 points or 200 points. It sounds like that's kind of being negotiated right now. So it's always that one thing where it's like when I would be running the events, I think a lot of times we made it like 175 has always kind of been my favorite, and so like every other Adepticon, it had been like 175, and then it would be like 200, and
sometimes less is more in my opinion. Like Chris, remember when you ran that Kings of War tournament, but it was like a little smaller. It was like 1850 or something like that.
1500 was our first one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, I like that. I'm like, this is different. It forces you to take different options because with 200 points, you just can't. With 175, I mean, you can't afford the same thing at 200.
Yeah. What do we do for? So sorry, Kings. We did 1500. Deadzone. What did we do? You were there for that one, Brian. What did we do for Deadzone that time? Was it 150 or did we do 175?
I feel like we did 150.
I think we did 150. Because
we had a lot of new players.
We had a lot of new players. And I remember fighting Nameless and them just like stomping me because I had nothing that could counter like the I forget which ones they are. They're like the drop suit ones. Just like came in my back line and nothing could.
Or the Cthulhu people with guns?
Yeah. Nameless are mean, man.
Oh yeah. I can't wait to get mine going.
Oh yeah. So Adepticon is shaping up really well. The firefight tournaments, to get some initial details on that one. Actually, at least right now it still says 3 rounds. But when you've got 10 hours of game time, with maybe a break in there, like I feel like you've got options.
He's gonna be cooked, man.
Am I doing that math right? I think so.
Yeah, sounds right.
9 to 7. I'm thinking. So this is just the preliminary pass. Like a lot of events are still getting their details kind of put forth, but this was the first glimpse at the events going on at Adepticon. So definitely check out that website for those of you Kings of War. There's Armada. There's the Kings of War big game. Obviously, there's a team tournament going on as well as an ambush tournament. and obviously the big Kings of War Adepticlash event, which is always huge. And it'll be exciting because this is the time it'll be in Milwaukee. And I'm gonna miss it, sadly.
Hey, that's okay. Life happens, man.
Yep. So were either of you thinking of making it out to Adepticon next year?
I like the idea. It's on the calendar. It just depends. So I'm a maybe.
Odds are not for me. I have a family event that's conflicting with it. It's the same weekend.
Gotcha. That happens. So we'll have to rely on roving reporter Rick Hall to give us all the latest this time around, or some of our good friends at Family of Gamers 777. They always do amazing coverage of Adepticon and as well as the Mantic events. They're very much into firefights and Deadzone and all that good stuff. So keep an eye out as we bring you more coverage on Adepticon to get you guys ramped up for it, even though we might not be making it out ourselves.
So
we gotta represent.
I have a question with so this year, the proposed launch on the Kickstarter for Warpath is March. So presumably we're going to see a general retail release of Warpath. And that, for anybody who's not familiar, Warpath is Mantic's like 8mm scale version of Firefight. Basically, it's the Firefight universe at a much larger scale of battle.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we'll see a presence at Adepticon the following year?
You know, it's quite likely. Yeah, because the original date was March 2025, and I don't think that they would pick that date on a whim. You know,
Right.
Mantic's always been very aware of Adepticon for big releases and announcements. So
you think they're going to have some Warpath at Adepticon this year? Like
they might have some.
That'd be kind of legit.
Did you guys back it?
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay. I did a little bit so that I could get the updates, but I know part of it was I was planning to get a copy of it through our local store. That's just kind of the thing for me with Kickstarters these days is like, oh, I'll help it happen, but like as far as the goodies, I might just pick that up locally.
Yeah, I don't Kickstart a lot. I think in my life I've done like 4 projects. Like I know some people, I mean, they have stuff waiting for like 10 years now at this point, but I really trust Mantic and I know that they do good Kickstarters. So it's like, well, I'm going to play the game. Might as well buy it now, just to get it going. So I end up getting Enforcers and Asterians. What did you get, Chris?
Everything.
Chris gets everything.
Nice. Yeah. I'm particularly excited for it because if they decide, they being Mantic, if they decide to do a space battle game, then like they would have with like Armada, but like of Warpath, then we have everything. We have every version of a campaign in the Warpath universe that we would ever need, And so I'm pretty stoked for it.
So like with that, and then we'll it just kind of sparked the idea. So do you want, and we can always say all, like, do you want big fleet scale battles or like dogfighting starships?
I guess you got 2 games there, Brian.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know.
Big fleet. I'm the big fleet.
You're a big fleet guy?
Yeah. Yep. I would rather have Armada over X-Wing,
Mm-hmm. That's fair. And really like the the art that we've seen for the spacecrafts in already in the Warpath setting, like they would be so cool at like scaled up and just monstrous looking things. all sorts of cool stuff. But on the Warpath note, they did release an update actually just a couple days ago from this recording, but like 12 days ago from when the episode comes out. Happy holidays, everybody! I forgot to mention that at the top of the hour. But they've got the rule book is out for translation, and so they'll just about have the final pictures getting added for the final print copy. And so they're doing the studio photography for all the model shots that they're going to be doing. Miniature updates. They're coming up at the end of making the pre-production tweaks for the plastic models, and then they'll be submitted to the factory for checking. And then the last few plastic models are being finished, and any fixes have already been kind of accounted for. They're in the last bit of as the last bit of the pre-production work is done on the plastics, the last pass on the resin models can then be finished. And that's going to be rolling out here as the studios going to be taking their holiday break. And so they sadly say that they don't have any pretty pictures this time, but there's a lot obviously going down, and that they're going to be touching back with us in early 2025. And so nothing definitive there about an Adepticon timely release.
It's just a touchstone, hey.
Yeah.
We're working on the game, don't worry.
Oh yeah, and it's definitely appreciated, right? Like there's so many Kickstarter projects that they just go dark.
Yeah.
And I would say, I think Mantic, they've been pretty decent about at least like some, not always monthly. There's a little bit of a gap like in October there. But for the most part, there's been a pretty steady list of updates, a lot of progress, a lot of screenshots and concept art around the models. And especially the big models. Those things are looking pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty legit.
And
even though it's big quotations.
Yeah, the big tiny models.
Yeah, the 28 mil monster that's actually,
Funny that there was no update, right around the Halo release. I wonder what they were all working on.
Yeah.
They're
just slacking is what it was.
Right.
They were having a Halloween party. But no, we definitely wish them all the best going into the new year, and are really obviously very excited to see the latest and greatest coming out of that. So, and with that, I might take a quick pause because I realized I was going to talk about the Advent calendar that I've been going through and posting about on the Facebook page, and realized I didn't bring any of it up with me to be in front of my computer with it. So let me go grab that real quick, and you guys can talk amongst yourselves.
Sweet.
Until I get back.
All right.
Behave.
We'll try. Well, now that Chris and I, we've commandeered this podcast, what do you want to talk about?
So, I know this is not Deadzone related or Mantic related, but it is absolutely tabletop related. I stumbled into yet another game.
Okay.
Because that's what I do. I'm always looking at other games and trying to find, even if I don't play them, like maybe things I can incorporate into the games I do play.
Oh yeah, totally.
But I found one that I have really, really become obsessed with, and it's called Oathmark.
I know the game. Oh yeah.
And it reminds me of Warhammer Fantasy back in when I started playing, like 5th, 6th edition era.
Okay.
And when the General's Compendium came out, which is like one of the best supplements ever written for a war game, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
And anyway, I have been working feverishly at some armies in that game, and
what did I miss?
And yeah, I'm hoping to get a game in of it. I don't know if I'll get it in before the end of the year, but I'm trying to get Jason to commit to coming and playing a game. So we'll see.
He probably will. That's what I think
nice.
of when I think of that game.
We're talking about a game called Oathmark.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
We commandeered this podcast.
Oh, no.
we'll see. Bryan may cut all of this out.
You underestimate how lazy I am when it comes to editing this show.
It's just I was just telling him like it reminds me of old Warhammer Fantasy, but it has two things in its favor. One is it's an alternating activation system, which is really weird for a rank and file game, and it has a really in-depth and narrative campaign system. And that's what I really like about it. It's written by the guy who does Frostgrave and Stargrave.
I would say you're in that guy's mood.
It's like he writes these games for players like me. I feel I'm just really nerding out about it. I won't go any further into it right now, but it's a really cool game, and that's all that's on my work desk downstairs right now is awesome stuff.
Sweet.
Yeah. All right, so I have returned to after dealing with some pesky vermin running amok. I dug out my copy of Deep Space Pest Control, which is the name of the advent calendar on the sci-fi side of things.
Nice.
For those that maybe had missed it, this was a new thing that Mantic did. This year they've now done a second year of Barroom Brawl, which is their kind of Christmas themed advent calendar where you just kind of get like scenery goodies, a couple little models, and then like a little mini game to play. And so this year they did their first one for the sci-fi side of things. And gotta say, I really like what we got in it. So the obviously there's 24 airlock doors that at the time that you're hearing this have all been opened. And I will let you guess when we record it. But for the sake of the show, I have been posting every day, every door that's opened up, and I've actually been working on painting all of them, which is kind of leading into a different section of the show, which I'll get into a little bit later. But I figure I'll talk about the game real quick. So it comes in underneath the advent calendar itself. There is the game where you are playing as Kyro, the Terraton mercenary, as the last hope for Outpost Beta 9. An infestation of vermin threatens to overwhelm the last survivors before they can be evacuated. If Kyro can seal the hatches from the maintenance tunnels, it will buy enough time for the civilians to escape. And so out of all the doors, the things you get with this is 6 hatch markers, little cardboard markers, 6 damage counters, 5 bonus shoot actions, 3 bonus move actions. There's a leader's lair hex, a 4 terrain area kind of little hex sets. Kyro, the Terraton mercenary, 2 ranged vermin and 2 melee vermin. And then also the game board, which looks a lot like Dreadball Ultimate a bit, but also kind of it's still very unique. I'm realizing these guys can't see because I've got a camera blur on, and everyone else can't see because this is radio. But that's just how they'll have to deal with it until I post the pictures.
So I didn't realize it's a full game.
Yeah, it's a full mini game. I think it's 1 to 2 players, and admittedly, I haven't looked through the rules, and I don't want to just kind of blindly go through it here on the show. But maybe I'll post some supplemental content talking about the game itself. But it looks like we're using 6-sided dice instead of 8. But we are on a hex grid, so things like movement and stuff is probably maybe a little bit closer to Dreadball rules. Yeah, for solo play, you can play as Kyro and make all of Kyro's decisions. Game AI rules will determine the actions of the Veerman. If there's 2 players, one can play as Kyro and the other will be the Veerman. And so the winning the game. So there's 6 hatches that need to be sealed and made inactive, and the leader has been defeated or removed from play. Otherwise, the Veerman will win.
Ooh.
Nice.
So I'm getting it's like Space Hulk vibes, but with a turtle, which is
Yeah.
way cooler. Which
So-
is way cooler.
So it's like Kyro's turn, Veerman's turn, respawn phase, and repeat until one of the sides wins.
So it's like whack-a-mole.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's like
Whack-a-rat.
all sorts of furniture and stuff. Like a lot of the sci-fi terrain crate kind of came
Nice.
to bear. A lot of those of you that maybe have a copy of Star Saga and the Star Saga character creation set, you'll have probably everything that you could get in this game. So hopefully, I'm kind of hoping that maybe they'll release it as like a PDF for those that maybe didn't get the box, but at the same time you need the mat. So maybe that won't happen. So you'll have to just catch it next year, I think is what it's going to come down to. But yeah, I'll post a little thing about it. Maybe take some pictures of me playing through it this holiday season, and maybe by the time this episode airs, I will have done that, and it won't be in a past tense. But yeah, so I think it's really cool. I love, it is one of those things where it walks that line where it's like not new models, like it's all stuff that they have from other sets and whatnot. So
Even Kyro?
Yeah. So Kyro as the Teraton mercenary is actually the Teraton model you could get as part of the Star Saga character creator. So they've had the model for it. But, Star Saga is kind of hard to come by these days, let alone any kind of expansions for it. So I think it's a great way to kind of bring some more life to this. And like I said, like the production value over this whole thing, I do really appreciate. Like this map here is like new. I said it looks like the Dreadball Ultimate map, but it is very much its own thing, and has like its own iconography and everything. There was work that went into making this map look as cool as it does. And
the whole thing came off as a labor of love. Like from my perspective, it's just like, oh, like that's so random. Like they just announced, like, yeah, you can be a turtle. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool.
It's a strange inverse of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Instead of a rat raising a bunch of turtles, it's a turtle hunting down rats. It's very strange.
I bet that'll be the next years. You'll have 4 turtles and 1 rat to rule them all. But yeah, so I'll make sure I post some follow-up content on that particular piece. But I think maybe with that, trying to think if there was other topics we wanted to talk about before we go into the hobby table, but I think that was the majority of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think with that, why don't we head on into the hobby table?
Boom. Okay.
Woohoo.
Chris, you want to start?
No.
Well, let me start first by saying the hobby table is the part of the show brought to you by Corvus Games Terrain.
There you go.
Had a pretty awesome Frontiers wrap up on my mini factory for his Dvergrhold, the space dwarf themed mining terrain set. It's been printed. I've just printed off a couple of like the what you call it, like conveyor belts for like rubble and yeah.
Oh, nice.
And it printed so clean. And like some of the other little like scatter terrain, there's a nice set of ruined buildings this time. I think more so than in previous editions that he's really kind of like torn buildings down to the studs, you might say, in the design of it. So it's definitely really cool. I think it'll likely get posted more formally to his respective stores, but definitely check that out. If you've ever wanted some Forge Father themed terrain, this stuff is there for you, and it is already cubed up for Deadzone.
Nice.
And so additionally, one of the other sponsors we have is Acid House Terrain. Acid House is the very affordable foldable cardboard terrain. You get a heck of a lot of terrain, and you can take it with you very easily to transport, very easy to set up, very durable. It has stood the test of time for us in a number of events over years now that we've been using their terrain. So
nice.
Always great stuff. And yeah.
One of the guys who plays Warcaster has a bunch of their cyberpunk stuff. And so he'll bring that when he shows off Warcaster when we do game nights.
It's so good.
Yep. It holds metal models on the roof, so I know it's like folding cardboard, but it's sturdy. Yeah, it's sturdy.
Mm-hmm. Good engineering all around, yes. I think. But
I can go first. I was
yeah,
joking
you can
saying
go.
no, but I just but if one of you guys want to go first, go for it. I just it's been a busy month since the last time we've talked, and I've been on a bit of a tear painting models.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say I've been on like the downturn. I just am barely getting anything done, and like by comparison,
compared to the last couple of months, that's kind of true. Like I've only finished 57 models in December.
Man,
that's more days than there are in December, Chris.
But like by comparison, I mean, we're not done either. We got like some of the month ahead of us still, but like by comparison, when I finished up November, I had 118 finished.
Wow,
that's awesome.
So, but yeah, I've been.
Well, I like.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
So on the desk, I have. I always have a little bit of BattleTech stuff going on. I've been working on a little bit of War Machine stuff, but for the Mantic lines, I've been working on Night Stalkers for Kings of War, Empire of Dust for Kings of War. I finished Acronius for Forces of the Abyss, and then I've been working on. I haven't worked on any Firefighter Deadzone models because pretty much what I have for Deadzone, like what I want for Deadzone, I finished.
Yeah.
And I have plans to start the Plague next year.
Okay.
But I'm kind of waiting. I want it to be like I've painted one Plague model to kind of like tie the color scheme together last month. And I want to wait to start the army next year.
Gotcha.
And then I've been painting a bunch of Oathmark stuff. So that's been my obsession.
So what I'm hearing is January rolls around. And at the time of this episode airing, just in just a couple days, like a week, by the time you're hearing this, before the next episode airs, he will have a whole, 5,000 point firefight army of Plague.
I may have a Deadzone force figured out. We'll see. But the big thing for me personally is I hit a high watermark for painted models this year.
Yeah.
My previous high watermark for a year was 1,101 models, and I am currently at 1,207.
Nice.
So I don't feel bad if I slow down the last couple of days of the year here.
Yeah, plus it's Christmas time. You're allowed to relax.
And I'm trying to dial it back a little bit. No, I'm trying to dial it back a little bit. I completely finished 2 King's armies. I decided to mark one of my other King's armies as done this year, so 3 of my 13 King's armies are completely finished right now. And like I said, I have stuff I'm working on for Firefight, but none of it's been a super high priority right now. Nobody in our local group is playing Firefight right now, and that's what I need to like fuel my
I'm
wanting
playing
to.
Firefight.
Scott, I never see you. That doesn't count.
I know.
Yeah,
We need to
that
fix that, Scott. We need to fix
I
that.
know.
I have stuff for you. So
that has
Yeah,
been the thing.
I
Like
forget about that.
everyone in the area does really like. We do enjoy Firefight. I think it's just kind of that difficult decision of like we're spoiled for choice, right? Like we have all these games that we want to play, and it's
Yep.
just usually it's just a little bit lower on the list from something like Deadzone or Kings of War or
Yep.
so it's not
No.
because the game's bad by any means.
Right.
It's
No, I
just
love Firefight and Dead
we
Zone, but
just
like
have a lot of really fun games to play.
No,
I have oh, go ahead.
So for Firefight, I actually played Firefight the most out of every war game. I played Firefight the most this year because my buddy Aaron lives 2 minutes away. So it's
That's
kind of like
right.
Bryan, our old situation. It's not my buddy Aaron, and our schedules lined up where Tuesday night he would just like stop by, so we would play 2-3 games of Firefight every week, and it was awesome.
Nice.
So to me, it's like I'm primed. I'm ready to roll, and I'm trying to get something for the Saturday after Christmas. I think it'd be fun to play Firefight.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to make myself available for that one because it'd be nice to get at least one more game in before the end of the year.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I have like two groups. So I have like my Mantic group of war gamers, like you guys and like Jason and like Nate and some of the more periphery guys who live a little further out. And the problem is like we don't really have a time set where we all kind of get together and play those games. And then I have another group of war gamers who I game with on Saturdays usually, and they're really consistent about like we put this time up. So every Saturday we get together and we game. The problem is they're not as into Mantic games. Like they're Games Workshop outcast, so they still want to play with their Games Workshop models, but they don't want to play the Games Workshop games anymore.
That's fair.
So they play a lot of one-page rules. And I've hit a weird point where I feel like I've outgrown one-page rules. It doesn't scratch an itch for me as a war game anymore. It was a good stepping stone to like reaching other games, but it's not where I want to like plant my flag and play games here.
Yeah.
And so I'm running a campaign for them right now. I'm not playing in it. I'm running a campaign for them. And they're actually doing the second from last session this week. So like this Saturday they're doing the final one-on-one games, and we're playing like gangs of the Underhive, so very Necromunda-esque. And then the week after Christmas, we're going to do the big free-for-all battle to see who's the king of the hive, and wrap that up. And then after that, we're going to go into other games. But once again, we're looking at Frostgrave, we're looking at Stargrave, we're looking at Oathmark, we're looking at.
I'm very into those. I would love to stop by and play at least once.
And those guys. Oh, I was gonna say those guys do play kings. I've tried to get them to play some Deadzone. It's been hit or miss with that group. Some of them really like it. Some of them really didn't like the exploding dice. That was like a big turnoff.
That's the best part.
Some players just don't like that. Like that's why there's so many games, right? Like so many different play styles exist out there. And so anyway, like I've tried to get them into these games. Like Firefight's one that we've talked about but never actually played in that group. And there's been a little bit of interest, so I might be able to do that. But like I said, right now we're looking at things that have a built-in campaign system, because the campaign play seems to be what everybody really wants to do. Yeah. And Deadzone has that. I just don't have enough of them that like Deadzone that they're willing to do it. So we're gonna do Frostgrave for now, and then Stargrave is on the itinerary for down the road. But I'd love to get these guys. And almost all those guys play Kings. They all play Kings War. We did a big map-based Kings War campaign. But it's just that they're kind of burnt out on it. Now they're looking at other games.
Dude, I loved that campaign. I know I kind of had to just say, all right, I'm just the undead lord that sits in the middle of the map now. But I had a ton of fun with that campaign. That was awesome.
Yeah. I will say, like, I enjoyed the setup of it, and then quickly became that thing. Like, I realized that I couldn't commit as much as that game needed.
campaigns
Yeah.
commitment, and like I said, these
Mhm.
and then for this group, because they like everybody in the group is pretty much scheduled that like every Saturday from
Mhm.
6 o'clock until 9 or 10 o'clock we get together and do some wargaming. It's worked pretty well
Yeah.
for being able to
Yeah.
get campaigns going.
I've been meaning to get out there the last couple Saturdays. It's just Saturday night is the only time that's open, and I have so many friends. I have to cycle it, I have to cycle all my buddies,
Yeah, yeah. Being an adult is tough, kids.
Man, never grow up. Never.
I'm sure we're preaching to the choir on all this. But have you had a chance to work on any models and painting and stuff, Scott, or is it been pretty?
Check this one out. I took it out. I just bought a couple Reaper models just because I wanted to put something together. But look at this Griffin, dude. It's huge.
Oh, wow.
Isn't he awesome?
That's nice.
I just thought this would look good for the Forces of Nature army. I do have stage next are the I know I've talked about the Nameless, and I found a mule. I don't remember where I got it from. I was like, when did I get this mule? So I'm wanting to ramp up one of the projects, but going into next year, I don't know which game I'm going to be jumping into more of. I really would like to just pick back up Firefight again. So I really want to finish the Asterians. They're pretty much ready to roll. I'm looking at them, and they're beautiful. But I don't know if I want to start another Firefight project or another Deadzone project. It'll probably end up being a Deadzone project, but we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, for my side of things, like I do, like I am trying to push myself more to do the Firefight scale things. Like over the course of the year, I was really happy that I managed to get kind of to my goal of getting like an enforcers firefight list together, and I'm pretty sure I have enough to do like a 1250, so like my kind of tournament level with maybe a little extra sprinkling in there too of options. But yeah, as people that listen to the show might be aware, I am very slow at painting anything. And so like a combination of been doing a lot of printing of the Corvus Games terrain, and among other things. But it's mostly like if I had donated a set of my terrain to our local game store, and so I'm kind of replenishing. So I have a third set again, of just like Corvus 3D printed terrain that's really transportable and able to take and set up for tournaments. Where I'm probably going to be helping have stuff ready for Adepticon's tables that I'll be sending along with my buddy Rick, even though I won't be there. So you'll hopefully play on some of the tables that I've got put together. But all that said, I have made it a point with this pest control game to actually be painting up the minis. And by the time this recording drops, you should see all of them painted. But I've got all of them. I've been trying a lot of different things with how I've been painting them, trying to be better at practicing technique, if you will. The mostly went with a Zenithal style priming, and then have been doing a lot of dry brushing to after speed paints and contrast paints. Really like how my Veermen have been turning out. You'll be able to see pictures of them once they actually go live. But
I like the colors, man.
On the show, I went with a purple, black, and yellow scheme.
Super cool.
And I like how they turned out. Haven't, as of this recording, haven't figured out what I'm going to be painting my Terraton like yet, but I'm sure that'll come through. Might just do my classic Reb scheme. But it was also like painting up the little terrain bits and bobs and scatter stuff I found one thing that I was really drawn to is the simple color schemes, like big, stark primary color, like against white.
I love it.
Like the little crates that have just simple paint schemes. I think was the name of the game. I did make this one trunk to be like a yellow and black trunk case that you can pick up at your local farm and fleet. You know, that kind of thing. I always kind of struggle with like painting combinations and finding out what's good, without just defaulting to like, oh, what is just a contrast color? Just do a primary and a contrast. But
Hey,
yeah.
a color wheel is helpful for that thing, though. I know you just said like contrast, but like having a color wheel handy, I mean, you can get plenty of ideas.
Yeah, I think I just need to hop online sometimes and like look up ideas for paint schemes, especially like the scenery bits. I always like save out, like people post some really amazing color schemes for simple things like the doors and the the crates and the little terminals with interfaces. I made sure that they all have kind of like charts and
Little
graphs
boop.
and stuff
I
going
love
on.
that. So cool.
Some amazing like detail you can get into these kind of small plastic bits, add a lot of life to the board. So I've been really happy with that. I've been managed to get that put together. It helps with the football season still going on. That's when I mostly do my painting. So
Nice.
yeah.
Multitask, listen to the game and paint at the same time.
Yeah. Yep. And so the last model, apart from my Teraton there, that I want to try to get done before the end of the year is I have my Master Chief primed up. I guess what is called the slap chop method, like black primer, dry brushed on for like some highlights, and then I have the official paint set. So I want to really take some time and paint up Master Chief. So hopefully he looks stellar by the time he comes out of the other end of that project. Because I like Master Chief. I want to do him justice.
Hey man, you just need some army green, little gold in the visor. He's got a sword, doesn't he?
He's got a sword.
Yeah, so just make some blue. Oh, object source lighting, some OSL on the model. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Boom. He's all set.
Yeah. That's ambitious.
Just do like a blue.
We could do a whole show on color theory and choices, and I mean, yeah.
If people would like Chris to talk about his painting schemes and plans, we will certainly set up a section of the show and the YouTube page if you want to use it, because you're definitely an awesome painter. And yeah, so that kind of covers it for my hobby projects. Always whenever my printer's able to print, it usually is, even when it's in my basement, which is not climate controlled by any means. So it's usually a surprise every time I come down, whether or not it's
as long as you're not spray painting indoors. As long as you're not spray painting indoors, you should be fine.
Don't spray paint inside the house, please.
Don't do it, kids. You heard it here first. Don't spray paint in the house.
We're in a very not friendly weather state to outdoor priming, and it's still like you learn your tricks of like, is it a safe day to prime? Can I do this? Can I get away with this? And I mean, I bring my models into dry always. I never leave anything outside, so. There's a little bit of the smell of that, but other than that, yeah, it's don't ever try it in the house. So that's just bad.
I know in my case, a couple of times it's been like in the garage. I'll back one of the cars out, and I have this big like piece of styrofoam from like a TV or a computer. So I can't even remember what it came from anymore, but it is big, right? And I set all my models on top of that, so it's always off the ground, and I can spray paint around it. Like there's so many layers of paint on it by this point.
So I'll give you a trick that this is one I've used for years. Just go to any of the big box hardware stores or like a painting store and just ask for the 5-gallon stir sticks, because they'll just give them to you. They'll just give you a handful of them,
Yeah.
and then some double-sided tape, and you put your models on those, and you go out, and then you can prime. You can raise them above, you can drop them lower. You have control over where the models are, and there's not a lot of surface area that gets in the way of where you're going to be priming. And quick short burst. I do a lot of zenithal priming as well. So like prime them black, bring them inside, let them dry for a couple hours, go back out, hit them with the lighter color from above. And those sticks, like you eventually get so many coats of paint you can't use them anymore because it builds up on the edges, and you're like taping in the middle. Like the models aren't touching the tape because it's created like the edges have built up so much paint on them. Yeah, so, but I want to say like with the amount that I paint, I want to say I throw out sticks every 2-3 years.
That probably would be a good update for me.
Just get a big yardstick. You could do a big one.
That's what they are.
Yeah.
The 5-gallon stir sticks, they're about I want to say they're about 18 or 20 inches long, and they're pretty durable. Like they're pretty thick. So they work really well for that. And I mean, I go to these places and buy paint too, so I'm not just there to get free stuff from them. But like I buy tons of like cans of primer at my local hardware store, and every once in a while I'll be like, hey, do you guys have a couple stir sticks I can have? And they're like, yeah, here you go.
That's a pro play. That is a pro play.
I think for me too. You guys kind of saw it. So I've got all these spools of filament. Once I'm done with them, that are nice and round, so like I can set that up. I think I'm gonna try to get print something so that I can maybe have more of like a turntable going on.
A little lazy Susan at your paint.
Yeah. It's not very big, but yeah.
That's all right. That's cool.
Little itty bitty lazy Susan. But yeah, so I think with that we're gonna start wrapping up. Last bit of notes is in the Mantic Vault. Haven't talked about that one as much. They have been doing a little bit more on the fantasy side lately, but the next month's preview did drop not too long ago, and it looks like we're going to be getting that Enforcer sniper platform, that gigantic
big giant thing,
big giant gun, and I think it's the top of the alternate top for the Accuser Interceptor to make it like the command version. I forget what the name of that one is. I don't have it in front of me, but that's there's kind of two pieces, and then I think they're doing a big push for getting the Abyssals out and ready for. I think they're ramping up for their Vanguard launch. I think, which is kind of that weird thing where they're like launching the models on the Vault, I guess, before it goes on the Frontiers. That I think they're still kind of figuring out the good balance on, of like a lot of the models that they'll release at different tiers are things that maybe those of us that have been subscribers to the Vault for a long time now probably have. So it's kind of that thing where I think they need to find that balance of like what's good, what's new, kind of for the Vault that you couldn't get elsewhere. But they'll figure it out.
So they are releasing Vanguard officially. I mean, obviously it's been like I've been seeing it on the Vault, but like, is there a date where they're re-releasing it?
I don't know if they've announced a date. When is for that?
Not officially that I'm aware of, but they are doing that like expansion or campaign. So we'll see.
Yeah, and
I bought Vanguard. I've never played it.
That we could do a whole podcast on that one alone.
Vanguard the podcast.
Vanguard the podcast. I will say like the from what I've heard. Oh wait, did it? It has launched. It's live now.
Vanguard.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
The Frontier's up and running.
Wait, just go to Mantic.
I would go to my mini factory. But they've got they just launched. I must have missed it when they did. There's 22 days left as of this recording. I think it must have started like a week ago, maybe. That slipped under my radar. But
like
yeah,
that.
so go check that out. I know it's not sci-fi, but check it out. And other more sci-fi news, I had the opportunity to go on the Manticlore podcast. It's another Mantic themed podcast centered a lot around the lore behind the games. So they do a lot of stuff for like the Warpath side of things. And it just so happens that they wanted to talk about the Rebs.
Right.
I really appreciate they invited me on. I did not force my way in or anything like that, or hijack their show. They're really great guys, really into the lore. So if you ever like had an interest in learning more about the background of the setting and whatnot, and you want to listen to a podcast about it, definitely check out the Manticlore podcast. They're a great set of guys. And then, strangely enough, this recording is going to happen in 2 days as of now. But Family of Gamers 777 also wanted to talk Rebs, and so they invited me to their show as well. So I've been talking a lot of Rebs this month, and I hope I don't bore you, as it might sound repetitive. But you know what? Woo, go Rebs! Because we are getting closer to that goal of getting them back to life. So keep spreading the good word. Keep getting people to like and follow Mantic on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and all the other social media just for fun. And you can do that to this show too. Feel free to like and subscribe to all the different social medias that we happen to be on. I might see about getting us on Blue Sky at some point. Maybe I'm being kind of lazy about that. I think I just have to do it, and then it'll be done, and then I'll be posting there too.
And then it will be just a check.
Yeah. And but yeah, so yeah, I think that's a wrap. So everyone, I hope you had a safe and wonderful holiday season. Take care of yourselves, drive safe out there, and hey, here's to a really awesome 2025.
Woo! Let's hobby up. Let's see if we can beat Chris's high water mark.
Let's do it.
Combined.
You mean like for the year, can I beat his December number?
Yeah. Yes.
His slow period.
Yeah. That's good.